Hey guys, I just want to mention real quick, because of the current situation that we're currently in right now, I'm not going to be able to order any mechanical equipment that I could be able to use for my camera, so that is why I'm currently doing it vlog style right now. And today I'm going to be talking about what is probably one of the most talked about and most watched documentaries on Netflix right now, and that is, of course, The Tiger King. Now, what is the Tiger King? Well, it goes a little something like this. You see, Tiger King follows the exploits of a man named Joe Exotic, who owns a zoo out in Oklahoma, and just all those generally weird and interesting things that he does. At first, you think that it's originally going to be about the life of these exotic tiger owners, but no. It turns out it's more about the feud between this man and a woman that he despises with all his heart. Carole Baskin. Now, to those of you who are wondering who Carole Baskin is, Carole has her own organization called Big Cat Rescue, who wants to be able to promote against big cats like tigers, lions, and such being held behind closed cages at zoos and such. How does she do this? She pretty much showcases off all the tigers that they have in their cages. Should also mention real quick the fact that Carole's a bit of a hypocrite when it comes to that kind of stuff. And also, Carole Baskin may or may not have murdered her husband. Whether she doused him in sardine oil and fed his body to the tigers, whether she shot him and ended up burying his body into the septic tank, or ended up crushing it up into a meat grinder. Yeah, he mysteriously disappeared, and a lot of people think that Carole may have killed her. No, killed him, sorry. So yeah, I should also mention real quick that when it comes to this series, there are almost no good guys in this scenario. There are no people that you root for. Like Doc is another example of what kind of people that Joe Exotic is, and the fact that he has his own little cult going on right there of young, almost virgin women, or virgin women in almost virgins, close to virgins at least, and yeah, it's just unnerving and disturbing at the kind of stuff that he does. And alongside Jeff Lowe, who his whole thing is that he will get young girls to follow him to his hotel by sticking baby tigers in suitcases and luring them into his hotel room so he can do only God knows what he wants to them. But anyways, now, yeah, there are almost no good people in here. Aside from like maybe 2 or 3 people, there are almost no good guys in this scenario. Like, one of the only good guys that I think is in here is the individual who ended up getting their poor arm bitten off by a tiger, which was unfortunate. And they ended up having to get that thing to, decapitate. No, not decapitated. Hold on, what was the name? What's the name? Amputated. Yeah, had to get their poor arm amputated because a tiger pretty much bit it and made it beyond good use. I should also mention real quick the fact that probably one of the more likable and more interesting individuals of this documentary was a man that used to run a drug ring and smuggle stuff like cocaine and such, and watched one of his buddies hack up an FBI informant in front of his eyes, and also happened to be the prototype for the 1983 Scarface starring Al Pacino. And he's one of the more likable people in here. But yeah, that's the kind of world that we're in when it comes to Tiger King. There are almost no good guys here. In fact, Joe may have taken it a little step too far because, well, he tried to hire a hitman to go after Carole Baskin. He failed, and now he's serving around 25 years in prison right now. Which, yeah, that's a long time to be in prison. And I also want to apologize real quick the fact that if I happen to be going all over the place with my thoughts on this show, it's because it's a show that really makes me think like, wait, what? That actually happened? Like, apparently, Joe Exotic at one point, he tried to run for president. I'm dead serious. He actually did try and run for president. That didn't work out too well. So he decided to go for governor of Oklahoma. and his campaign manager happened to be the guy that who helped him get guns and ammunition at Walmart. I'm dead serious. That's actually what happened. But yeah, a lot of stuff ends up happening in this show, and a lot of very sad and disturbing stuff does happen in this. There are some funny moments. Like, it is kind of a little funny to constantly go on, just Joe keep rambling about, how Carole Baskin is a biatch. That's probably the one-time curse card that I'm ever going to use for this video. Is Carole Baskin is a biatch. Now, there's no doubt that she murdered her husband and ended up feeding his body to the tigers and something like that. It is kind of funny to see this man sort of ramble like that. And it's also very interesting to see the fact that, just how these people they're just so intrigued as to how people like Joe Exotic exist. Because it's like, it just seems like a mythical man that just so happened to be living out in the middle of nowhere in, like, Oklahoma or something like that. I can't use the exact quote here, but if you've seen the documentary, you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that Joe Exotic is probably one of the more fascinating individuals that I've ever seen. But yeah. I also mentioned real quick the fact that some of the executive producers for this show were as follows. Two I recognized were Chris Smith and Fisher Stevens. Now, Chris Smith was actually the man who directed two documentaries that I absolutely love. One of which being my all-time favorite movies, and that being American Movie back in 1999 or 2000. And the movie the documentary followed how Mark Borchardt and his best friend Mike Shank tried to be able to make a short film called Coven. Spelled Coven, but Mark mispronounces it with a long O. Coven. I absolutely love that documentary. He also directed another documentary for Netflix called Jim and Andy The Great Beyond, which was a 2017 documentary that followed. It was spliced in between two things. It was behind-the-scenes footage of the 1999 movie Man on the Moon, where Jim Carrey played Andy Kaufman, and then present-day footage of Jim Carrey just talking about the experience working on that movie. And it was, I should also mention real quick the fact that it was the Jim Carrey who had the ginormous beard at that given time. But, yeah. It's a really fascinating documentary and shows how exactly Jim Carrey sort of became Andy Kaufman. In fact, that footage had actually been withheld for nearly 20 years at that point, because according to Jim Carrey, the studio didn't want him looking like an a-hole. But yeah, obviously we're seeing it now, and we're sort of seeing the forefront of his efforts. So yeah, this man is no stranger to documentaries and very fascinating subjects. Fisher Stevens I recognize because he was the Indian guy in Short Circuit. I should also mention real quick that he's not Indian. And I also recognize him as either Iggy or Spike from the Super Mario Bros. Movie from 1993. And to those of you who are wondering how on earth he could be able to executive produce something like this, that makes about as much sense as anything that actually does happen in this series. But there is also another fun fact that I do want to mention real quick. And that is, my mother actually went to high school with one of the people that was showcased in Tiger King. Now, obviously, she didn't go to high school with somebody like Joe Exotic or Carole Baskin. No. She went to high school with somebody who was more normal. I'm forgetting what her last name is, but her first name was Brittany, and she was actually featured as a PETA lawyer or representative in the 7th episode of Tiger King. I should also mention real quick the fact that the show became so popular that Netflix actually ordered a after show with Joe McHale hosting called The Tiger King and I. Obviously play on the classic The King and I. But yeah, I just want to mention real quick, I did not watch the after show. The only thing I did watch were the original 7 episodes, and that was it. Because honestly, I very much read the fact that that's really all that I needed. But yeah, in the 7th episode, when they go to a PETA representative, it cuts to this woman named Brittany, and she's only there for like 2 minutes or less. And I just find it really cool knowing the fact that my mother actually went to high school with somebody who was in Tiger King. It's so cool. But yeah. So, a lot of you guys are probably wondering, hey Owen, what score are you going to be giving Tiger King? I'm not going to give it a score, because I very much feel like that Tiger King is one of the rare exceptions to this show in which I feel like the fact that I cannot do this show justice by giving it a rating. So, the rating that I'm going to give it is 2 thumbs up. Go watch Tiger King. I know it may seem a bit of a cop-out to go with that kind of angle, but hey, when it comes to something like Tiger King, I just gotta say, watch it. Just form your own opinions just by watching this bizarre, fascinating character study of these individuals. It's very intriguing and definitely worth your time. And hey, it'll give you something to watch while we're currently all self-quarantined right now because of the virus currently going around right now. Yeah, I'm calling it the virus right now because I'm afraid that if I say the actual name, YouTube will demonetize me. But let's hope that won't happen. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, me just rambling about Tiger King. Tune in next time, in which I'm just probably going to review something, but you know what? I think I might actually review another anime again. But it's an anime that I only just recently started watching around 2-3 months ago. But it's an anime that I absolutely love, and I cannot wait to talk about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next video that I'm going to be doing. And as always, stay gold.